Okay, everyone. In this episode, we are going to be talking about training willpower. So, before we get into willpower, I guess I have to define what will is. So, it's kind of hard to define, but willpower is the amount of control that we have to either choose to do something consciously or to consciously decide not to do something. It's that ability for us to choose our next step, choose our next actions. Usually, the implication of willpower is that we are using some exertion inside of us to do something that is ideally good for us, right? So you use your willpower to stop yourself from doing something bad and to do something that is good. Well, how often do we use willpower, right? So every morning we have the option to hit the snooze button on our alarm or get up at the time that we decided, right? We use our willpower when we're deciding to do some work that is frustrating, but we have to get it done. We're using our willpower to have a phone call or a conversation that maybe we don't feel like doing, but know if we have that phone call, have that conversation, send out that email, do what we need to do, at the end of the day, it's going to result in a bigger return or some greater meaning for us. So willpower has this implication, right, to do more, to do something in the now that's ultimately going to allow us to get the result of a better future. When we don't use our willpower, when we're not exerting our will in the present moment, it can result in a snowballing effect that makes things harder for us later down the line. It makes it more difficult. When we wake up late, when we don't eat a good breakfast or we don't have a good lunch, when we don't use our willpower to take care of the things that we need to do, a spiraling effect happens later on that makes things harder for us. So in this episode, I'm going to specifically hone in on training willpower. And the way that we have to train willpower is to first start to notice the spiraling, start to notice the snowball effect, looking at the results of our day and starting to notice things that are occurring through the day that maybe we would want to change. You can't exert your will if you don't know where to use that power, where to start to use that change or that muscle effectively. So step one in training your willpower, step one in looking at this thing is to figure out where we are not using our will, where we are doing things we don't want to do. So I would recommend, everyone has a smartphone, or most people do, either having a little piece of paper or using your smartphone and starting to jot down individual moments where you could have taken care of something in the now, in the present moment, but your will slipped away. I also want you to start to notice times where you could have left things to slip away. You could have let something by, but you took a good action. You did something that was, responsible, or something that was allowing you to really take care of what needed to be done in the moment. So you can literally start to create a willpower tally, because ultimately in a day, we only have so many decisions, and those decisions end up being, quote, a good decision or maybe a not so good decision. So you can start to create a willpower tally, things where you let things slide, maybe weren't as effective for you, and things where you made an effective decision. And once you have this tally, you're ultimately going to end up with this almost willpower percentage. Moments that you could have done something good, and out of those moments, how many times did you take that good action, right? So yes, this all sounds very mathematical and all that stuff. You don't actually have to track it this way. It's just one method of doing it. But even by starting to notice these moments, you will subconsciously start to exert your will more effectively. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, by you listening to this conversation today, I am kind of almost programming you to start to notice times where you're letting things slip away. my ask of you is to start to notice those moments and exert your will to do something good in the moment. By training your willpower, by being hyper-focused into the now, into the present moment, by noticing what you can do here right now to make your life, make your family's life, make your business life, make your work life easier, you can exert your willpower in the now and ultimately be able to exert that will more effectively over time. So my ask of you in this episode is to either A, have a tracking system of noticing the good things and the things that you're letting slide, and B, start to exert your willpower in the present moment and to start to rack up things that are good for you, using your will to create good moments. Now, in my reading and what I've learned over time is that most people, not everyone, but most people have their most energy or will or ability to exert good action right in the morning. It is much easier to create habits and patterns that are effective for us in the morning, and that allows us to snowball into a good day. It's a lot harder, and another area to train, it's a lot harder to have a day start off wrong and then use our willpower and energy to start to create good action when things are going wrong. The stronger our willpower, the stronger our exertional force to change things, to make good decisions in the moment, the more able we are to even stop those negative snowball effects from happening and ultimately take back control of the day and make good decisions even when the day starts off on the wrong foot. So, be conscious of your willpower, be conscious of your exertional force to take back control of your life, and start to think about using your will to make good decisions every single day. If you're inclined, make a tracking system. If that's not for you, I would just say begin to notice those moments where you have to make a decision and notice when you're making a better decision and the decision that ultimately is not going to allow you to produce or be more effective in your day. Train your willpower, and over time, you're going to be able to take more control, have more autonomy, and make the decisions that are ultimately going to result in a more effective life. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Happy Doc. And if you did, please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It's one of the best ways to support us. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Happy Doc.